Hi guys, it's Arian here, doing another video, and now we're doing the long-awaited Ink Sands Part 4. What if Deku had Ink Sands powers Part 4? Sorry, I held off making Ink Sands Part 4 for a long time. It's just I didn't have like any good ideas. But then, just a few seconds ago, just a few minutes ago, I had a pretty good idea. So now we're doing it. So yeah, just give me a second. I've missed doing this series. I miss doing this series. It's always such a pleasure to work on this AU because of how it was like my first ever What If, and it became the most successful series on my channel. Well, I think What If Deku had Golden Freddy's powers is probably the most successful. I don't know. This is probably, if not the most popular series on this channel, since the first part is the most popular video on my channel, getting over 3,000 views. So if you're watching this, you can go check out my other AUs. Warning. Bleh. Actually, never mind. Also, just wanted to say real quick that the whole multiverse wars thing, I am kind of I don't really feel like doing that anymore. So I'm basically canceling that, and I'm going to replacing the old all the videos that had a multiverse war stuff related with them, and I'm going to be replacing that with just new parts for the video, for the just like new videos and revamping those parts, because I just don't want to do the multiverse wars anymore. And also, just in case, considering that my last video probably isn't going to be that popular. Okay, what was I saying? I had to go eat my dinner, and now I've completely forgotten about what I was doing. But anyway, oh yeah, now I know. Since this video is probably not going to be, the last video only got 10 views within the first day, which, isn't bad. Well, by this standards, by, non-popular YouTubers standards. By this channel's standards, at least. It will grow over time. What was I saying? Oh yeah, shout out to my friend AV Elvis, because he wanted to he wanted me to give him a shout out. I did it in the previous video, what if Deku had Bendy's powers, part 4. You can go check that out if you want. After this video, of course. Yeah, he had AV Elvis. He does like Fortnite montages, and does a bunch of gameplay. So you can go check out his channel, AV Elvis, and remember, and he's almost at 200 subscribers, and he might be at 200 subscribers. I don't know, but go check him out. He's a cool guy. Anyways. On with the what if. We're already 4 minutes in, and yeah, this video, I'm gonna have to extend this video. So last time we picked up, we ended with the sports festival. And of course, Izuku had won the sports festival. So yeah. And Izuku is first place, and basically, so everything is looking pretty good. Everything's looking pretty good for Izuku. He won the sports festival, and life is looking bright. He's happy. And he gets a bunch of offers from pro heroes for internships, and one of them. Wait, just give me a second. And one of those internships is from a hero, and this is just a made up hero. This is where the idea for the reason why I hadn't uploaded this video is because I didn't know what to do for the internships. So yeah. Anyways, I just decided to make up a new hero, and his name is Claus. And Claus, he gets he gets an internship offer from Claus, and what Claus's quirk is, he's not like at the top of the heroes. He's still a pretty popular hero. He just has a quirk, and he goes by the name of his quirk, like All for One, basically. And it's called Claws, basically. It's called Claws. You should be able to guess that by the name. He basically has monster-like hands that are very sharp, and with these sharp claws, he's also he is very very well. He's very deadly in head-to-head combat, and he also has and also with his quirk, he's also able to increase the size of his hands and the sharpness of his hands, and yeah, so yeah, and Cross Kara actually looks up to him, so they both get an internship from Claus, and they both take it. So yeah. And anyways, they arrive at Claus's agency, and yeah, so most of their training at the internships are sparring matches with Claus, and Cross Kara is able to develop they both get stronger in head-to-head combat with their sparring matches, and Izuku is able to develop a new type of ink. And I don't know if I mentioned this in the sports festival, but he could turn his ink red, which is like combustible ink. So basically, splashing it on something, he's able to detonate it whenever he wants. Basically, creating ink C4. And it's been a while, so I might have forgotten. So maybe I mentioned it in the sports festival. If not, then he developed two types of inks during his internship with Claus. And the second type of ink he developed, another type of ink he developed is pink ink, which if you watched Underverse, you probably know what this is going to do. It splashing it onto an opponent. If after maybe a few seconds, it will basically turn into like a kind of basically the ink turns into this pink rope, basically, or pink string that wraps around the person who had been splashed by the ink. but it also can be used. Also can be used on walls as well, and also can and so basically you can create strings with this pink ink. So basically now he can become Spider-Man if he sets up the ink right. So maybe he could splash an ink on the side of the building and splash ink on the other side of the building right across the street. Then he could just jump. Then he just could jump onto that string and just keep splatting ink on other buildings to basically just creating strings and hopping around. So yeah, two pretty useful abilities now, and what Cross Kara is able to develop a sort of uh like a sort of like healing ability by stabbing people. So he's basically able to reset damage done to himself, but also by stabbing other people, he's able to replenish. He's able to replenish. They're able to heal them by stabbing them. Like he can heal any wound. However, this doesn't apply to broken bones or fractured bones. This only works on basically like rashes or something, or maybe cuts and wounds. So it doesn't work on broken bones. It basically only works on like human flesh. It wouldn't work on bones. So yeah. Also, just so you're reminded, Izuku is still a normal Izuku. It's just he has ink sense powers. It doesn't mean he's an actual skeleton. So just want to remind you of that. I might create some art of him for next episode. So yeah, you can take a picture of that, and then that will basically be the art for this the art for the video. And anyways, since the town that Claus's agency is in is a pretty urban area, they're going looking for some villains, and they find some bandits. All of them have a kind of like all of them have kind of all of them have like cloning quirks, or maybe there's this one villain who has a cloning quirk. So once they stumble across him robbing a bank and is about to get his getaway, Claus is able to stop the vehicle by increasing the size of his hands and jumping in front of the car, and just holding the car up and slamming it down to the ground, knocking the villain out of the car. And Cross Kara is creates a I mean Izuku never mind. The villain creates creates a lot of clones of himself, and Cross Kara summoning a bunch of knives and firing them all at the. He basically summons a bunch of knives in the air, and then they kind of just come down like a rain of arrows, except they're knives, and they basically just kill all the clones, and then until they find the real villain, because the clones, after they've been cut or fatally wounded, then they just disappear. So they aren't really their own person, or just once they die they disappear. And also if he uses his quirk too much, then he falls asleep. So yeah, he came up with a cool quirk there. You can use that on your OCs. But actually, talking in all seriousness. Yeah. I just heard a beep sound. Whatever. Never mind. I should have Eevee. So anyway. Oh god. I just got distracted by that beep sound and now I've kind of forgotten what I was talking about. Oh yeah. So the villain has a knife in his chest, and he's literally bleeding and just falls to the floor. While he's not dead, he's almost unconscious because he's used this quirk to create like over 50 clones of himself, and that makes him a bit drowsy. And also he's been stabbed in the chest, so like, yeah, of course he's almost unconscious and almost dead. But anyways, Cross Kara heals the wound because they don't want to kill the villain because that's not what heroes do. They just and once they have the villain, they tie him up with Izuku's pink ink. Pink ink, get worms. And the villain is sent off to the police. And their next destination is Hosu City, since since they saw the fight with the villains live on TV, they know that Claus and these two UA students are not to be messed with, so crime rates are kind of low. So they go to Hosu City, and on the train there, Azuku and Kara. I'm just gonna call it Kara, not Cross Kara, because it just save time. Kara, bleh. Azuku and Kara. I'm just gonna call it Kara. Kara hear like a weird screeching noise, and then suddenly a Nomu busts through the side of the train, and Claus and Izuku and Kara are all quick to get up, and Claus just immediately swipes one of his claws at the Nomu, but this doesn't do anything. And Izuku uses his his pink ink, wrapping ink. I'm just gonna call it wrapping ink. Actually no, string ink. Yes, string ink. He uses his string ink to wrap up the Nomu, and since the Nomu is now incapacitated, is that the word? They're able to get to the heroes go to Hosu State, Hosu City, and the police had arrived at the train station. Yes, and they took the Nomu. Yes. So now that they've left, they know that since Izuku and and Izuku and Kara. Why did I just brain fart there? Because it's been a while since I've done this, and in most of my AUs I just don't have a random random character just imported into the MHA universe. So yeah, I'm sorry if I brain fart a lot. It's been a while since I've done an Ink Sans video. So yeah, forgive me for that. And then all hell breaks loose, and Nomus are sent. Nomus are just on the loose. I just said loose 2 times in that sentence. Score Bunny plush. I'm gonna stay closer to the phone because then you guys can hear me more clearly. And brain fart again. Okay, that time it was on purpose, but no more. No more. No more. And Claus says that it'll take care of the Nomus, and that Azuku and Kara should find what's causing all this. And of course they try to. They keep searching around the city until Azuku and Kara hear a stabbing sound. So they run into the alleyway that they heard it from, and what they first see is a hero named Native tied on the wall, paralyzed and fatally wounded, and then they see Ida on the floor, paralyzed, and then they see the hero killer Stain about to kill him. But before Stain can stab him, finishing off Ida, Kara summons a big knife and rushes over. Stain notices him and then puts his guard up. And they both Stain blocks the incoming slash with the with his katana or sword or whatever. I'm just gonna call it katana. And he uses a bunch of like little knives. You know, the ones that Stain uses, like he throws them out. Yeah, those. He throws them out, and then two of them hit a stab right into Kara's back, and Azuku uses his wrapping ink while Stain's distracted. He basically like launches like a kind of like, you know how not and some swords like they launch just like slashes of air in media. So basically he does that with the pink ink, the string ink. He uses that. He basically does that on Stain. But Stain is, but then Stain is immediately wrapped up. Or actually no. Actually no. Redo. Azuku tries to get up close to Stain and tries to use his string ink, but then Stain uses his throwing knives. I'm just gonna call them throwing knives into Azuku's chest and stomach, and 3 of them are in his chest and stomach. So yeah, that hurts. and then Stain is about to kill Azuku with his giant katana. Well, actually, no, he doesn't stab him into his arm. It doesn't stab him into his chest and stomach. It's actually into his arms and legs. 4 of them into both of his legs. 2 of them into both of his legs. Like 1 for each of his legs and 1 for each of his arms. So yeah. Now he has knives in his legs and arms. And then right about when Stain is about to kill Azuku with his giant katana, Todoroki creates an ice wall like underneath Azuku's feet and in front of Stain to block the katana, and the katana's knocked out of Stain's hand, and then it lands on the floor, and then Kara picks it up. And then that's when Todoroki appears. Azuku lays on the floor as he's in tremendous pain, and Tenya is still paralyzed, or Ida is still paralyzed, and Todoroki appears, and also he had notified Claws since most of the Nomus have been dealt with. Well, not dealt with, but Endeavor showed up, so and Claws and Todoroki appeared. And Claws just climbs up the walls with his sharp claws, because yes, he can do that because he's able to stab into the walls and like crawl up them. He crawls over the ice wall, and then Stain gets cut by Claws multiple times until he's just until he's bleeding a lot. Oh, whoops! Give me there. And then Stain tries to make his getaway, but Cross Kara uses one of his knives to he uses his giant knife to stab right through Stain's chest, and while this almost murders him, he's almost dead. But Cross Kara heals the wound, and while he's distracted, Izuku is able to stand up and get Stain wrapped up with the string ink. So now the hero killer had been dealt with, and that's where I'm gonna end the video off today. I had a lot of fun doing this because it's just always so fun to make What If Deku Had Ink Sans powers. It's always fun to make one of these. So I'll see you guys next time.